Every Monday is $9 Mondays over at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. Get any best bet or daily package for only $9.
Hey, Teddy Covers, it's me, Lawrence Pressman. Welcome to Wager Talk Today, everybody. Excited to have you doing this show, except Mondays, Teddy. It's that Marco guy. Nice haircut.
Thank you.
Gap, pause. Okay. But with that said, here's what's going down on this show. Marco D'Angelo, right off the top, my co-founder, and the nicest guy in the world, said no chicken ever. I'm sure he ate chicken wings on Saturday and Friday. We'll talk about the flavor in a bit. We're going Monday Night Football then. Matt Joseph for Monday Night Football props. Ralph Michaels at the end of the show, and Teddy and I will take a look at what we learned in Week 12. But, Teddy, let's start with the lead story, and that is just how mean you are to me. So for everybody, we're gonna get to the Raiders and Teddy being mean, but we're going the long way. So for anybody who knows, I cannot watch NFL football in public. I have to watch alone. My children are not allowed around me. Vivian's not allowed around me. I literally lose my shit, Teddy. When turnovers go against me and flags go against me, dude, I am like, I throw my shit at the TV. I take my shirt off and start chewing on it. I whip it around. I kick the footrest. I start screaming and yelling. And most of all, Teddy, I text you. So yesterday's text, as I read, God damn it, I'm on the over 53 in the Atlanta game. One team gets me 43 points, and I can't even go over. And Teddy's response, and I read, don't want to hear about it. Yeah. So I don't even understand, Teddy, why I go ballistic. I mean, I've been doing this for 30 years. I don't go ballistic during hockey or college football, just in the NFL. When people buy my NFL plays and I don't win for them, I flip out. I'm 51 years old. It's going to be death by losing my shit because of a turnover. Anyway, thank you for talking me down yesterday. I greatly appreciate it. So you understand, when I text you that stuff, it's actually a way to blow off steam. Like, I'm so pent up and I'm all alone and I have no one to speak to. So I reach out to you and then you text me, I don't want to hear about it, Prez. So, any thoughts on why you were so mean to me yesterday in a time of need? I was in a time of need.
So then, of course, when I say I don't want to hear it, we come back on Monday morning and then I have to hear it anyway. All right?
Yeah.
I don't want to hear your bad beats. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't want to hear your losses. I don't want to hear your wins. I could give two craps about any of that. I don't watch in the sports book either, Prez. But the reason I don't watch in the sports book, and I do this across sports, I've got a little sports book in my own office with 3 TVs, and I can sit by myself and focus on what I want to focus. I can switch my volume around. I can change games during commercial. I get an access of 6 games going on at once and get a feel for what's going on in all 6. But so number one is I'm paying attention to what's going on the field. I'm checking box scores. I'm tweeting. I'm doing a lot of stuff on an NFL Sunday. But number 2, you don't freak out like this in hockey. You don't freak out like this in college football. What is it about the NFL that makes you crazy? If you can't handle, after being in this business for 20-something years like you have, the NFL is going to make, like, if you're watching a game in the first quarter, it's going to make you crazy. If you're watching a game in the fourth quarter, it's going to make you crazy. Yesterday in the NFL, There were bad beats all over the place.
I know. I was on them.
We'll talk about it in bad beats in a little bit later in the show. But that's the nature of what we do. You're allowed to get pissed. You're allowed to have moments. But to try to share those moments with somebody else who's not interested in your crap, don't even bother, Prez. Go about
Don't
your
worry,
business.
Teddy.
Deal with it.
I got a great plan.
Man up.
I did end up having a winning day after all of that, but I got a great plan, Teddy. Moving forward, I will be texting my co-founder and partner, Marco D'Angelo. Oh, yes.
Excellent.
He will be getting my text from now on. Marco, how do you feel about that?
Well, Prez, if you would have texted me, I would have been so gracious to reply with very nice text for you. And I was dialed into that game. I watched that entire game because I had a 5% on Atlanta, and I really enjoyed that game much
Nice
more than
setup.
I've enjoyed probably any game this season. But, I would have dug down and got you another touchdown and made the final score 50-6 so you could have covered. I didn't realize we needed that. I was trying to be gracious to, the hometown Raiders and not putting another score on. But if I knew you needed it, we would have dug in for you, buddy.
And that's a friend, Teddy, right there. Marco D'Angelo, 5-1 day yesterday, dude. Congratulations. Outstanding as well. Rolling completely in the NFL right now, dude. 8-1 run. I won't say do it again. I had a moment where I had some youth there. Marco, I'm so glad you're joining us. Teddy's last birthday is today.
Uh-oh. Happy birthday, sir. It's like the entire Wager Talk. Well, I should say all the good Wager Talk guys are born in the month of November.
I'm born in November.
We got Ralph, we got Brian, got me, Teddy, we're Kelly, all the big guns.
We're 10 minutes in. We've given out no information. Marco, we got a Monday night football game going tonight. We bring you on to take it apart, so please regale us with your brilliance.
Well, guys, obviously you look at this game and you've got the Seattle Seahawks that started the season out 5-0 before they lost to Arizona, and then that put them in a little bit of a slump where they lost 3 of their next 4 games. They got back on the winning track last Thursday night, and mentioning that Thursday night, the NFL did them a big favor. It's almost like they got a second bye week because they got the max days in between that you could possibly get without having a bye week. They got 11 days in between games playing from Thursday to Monday. So an advantage there. Not that they needed a lot of them, because you look at this Philadelphia Eagle team, and man, they've been a train wreck this year, but they're still in the playoff hunt because they're in the NFC East. Just a crazy 2020, and what else would you expect out of a year like this? But as we break this down, that losing streak that Seattle had, it was all about turnovers. In the 3 losses over that 4-game stretch, Seattle turned the ball over a very uncharacteristic 10 times in those 3 games for the losses. And most of it was right on Russell Wilson making some bad throws, something that he generally doesn't do. The Seattle defense all season has gotten gashed, and that is why we saw early in the year Pete Carroll knew what he had with this defense, and he kept the offense rolling. Normally, he was a more conservative coach, but he had to have the offense score enough points to cover up the defense. Well, quietly, people haven't noticed that over the last 4 games, Seattle's pass rush and pass defense is still bad. But what has improved on this team has been the run defense. And it has changed the complexion of their games because suddenly now they're starting to reverse and go under in their games with the totals. And if you look at this one on paper, it's a stone cold under the way Philadelphia has played. Philadelphia in the last 2 games has been held to 17 points. I don't think they've topped 24, but maybe once all year. And we find a stat on Philadelphia as far as totals go. Philadelphia 16-5 to the under when they're playing at home over the last 3 seasons. With all of that said, I'm going to sit here and tell you to take the under, right? No, that's not the way I look at things because it's a little bit too obvious for it. And we've seen a lot of movement on this total throughout the week. This total has been crashing all week, and I think it'll continue to do so. You will get some, late square money, as you always do on a Monday night game, betting the overs because John Q. Public just doesn't like betting unders. But I think that you're going to see a reversal here. Philadelphia's got to pull out all of the stops. They've got nothing to lose. They've got to attack that secondary because they're not going to run the football against Seattle. And if Philadelphia can get a few scores, that changes the complexion of the game because then Seattle has to answer. These two played twice last year, and everybody's going to look at those two games. But remember, last year, Seattle still was playing good defense, and they were doing the Pete Carroll, just let the team hang around, we'll win it in the fourth quarter. And both games were 17-9 finals. I'm going to take the value here, and I'm going to go over the total tonight. I just think this is one of those contrarian plays for me that I'm going to go. It's a public game, Monday Night Football. I'm going to go ahead and take the over. And I know Teddy's going to pick me apart on it.
Oh, yeah. I've been just making notes this whole time because I lean under tonight. And you talked about the two matchups last year, neither of which got to 30 points, correct? And normally in those situations, we do look for a reversal the next year because both coaches will be game planning. Hey, we got shut down by this defense. We got to do something different. But you talked about Seattle's defensive improvement, and I'm not sure the markets have caught up with that yet. Carlos Dunlap has been an impact player on the defensive line. They got him for pennies from Cincy at the trading deadline. And since he's gotten to Seattle, look at their defensive numbers before and look at their defensive numbers after. It's been pretty dramatic in terms of yards per play, in terms of the ability to control the line of scrimmage. So Seattle playing better defensively than their season-long numbers would indicate. Then we look at the Seahawks game plan. Everything I've read from Pete Carroll is he wants to run the football. Carlos Hyde left, Carlos Hyde right. The game plan coming into the season was we want to do a lot more first down passing with Russell Wilson and not be in the third and longs. But what Carroll's been saying in the press of late is we want to run the football. Then there's offensive line issues for both teams. Seahawks' entire offensive line is questionable for tonight. So you put all those factors together, I can understand why the money's coming on the under. You still like the over, even given those nuances.
Yeah, for me, like I said, this is one of those situations, Teddy, that whenever you're going to look and go contrarian, you're not going to be on the popular side. And there's a reason why it's going to be so lopsided because everything that you said is there and people are going to look at it. And I think the one thing that you make the most sense about, and I will agree with, the market is very slow to adapt, especially in a season like 2020. All we've heard about is overs, because that's all we saw for most of the season. Well, yesterday you did see a reversal in form. You saw a lot of underdogs yesterday and a lot of unders in games where, they look like a lot of games were going to be just stone cold overs based on the way things went all season. And the market always is slower to adapt later in the season because they know that the average bettor just remembers what they saw. They don't make the midstream adjustments. They're not following the injury reports and looking at guys that are going out or guys that are coming in and be quick to adjust. In the two things where Vegas is the slowest to adjust on, in my opinion, and I'd like to see what you think about it, is when a perennial good team is in decline, they're very slow to adjust because people still believe in what they saw from that team before. And then when a team that has been an over team all year starts reversing form and becoming an under team, they're slow there too because of the public bias or the gambler's mentality to the overs. They're slow to adjust there. So I will agree with you on that point. That's the one that you make that scares me the most. But everything else, I said, this is just a pure contrarian play for me. And I've made a lot of money in the NFL, more so than any other sport, with the contrarian sides, with that thinking on times where it just looks too obvious. And to me, this is one of those that does.
Marco D'Angelo, we love having you on with us, dude. You are the best. The way you break games down, it's awesome. Guys, if you like Marco, you can see him every week, twice, 3 times, I think, on Bet On It, our most watched but third most good. That's not a phrase. Show.
Maybe that's why you're not the most watched.
I'm not the most watched because I lack Kelly as my host. Teddy got stuck with me. You got Kelly. You win. Teddy loses. But I win because I got Teddy. So I'm a happy man. Marco D'Angelo, anything to promote, brother?
Yeah, I actually have a play on the side in tonight's game. And later this afternoon, I'm going to be releasing another $9 play. It's $9 Monday, Prez, all the way to midnight. All plays $9 every Monday. WagerTalk Sports Memo.
There you go, guys. $9 Monday, WagerTalk and Sports Memo. Also, Marco, it's Cyber Monday, and we got a gigantic promo going. 6 months of any handicapper you want. Teddy, Marco, me, Gianni, Coke, and Merrill. Anybody at Sports Memo, well, most people at Sports Memo, but everybody at Wager Talk, 6 months, $599. I do want to leave with one last thing because we started the segment. Teddy, so you feel like you have good company. I text Carmine and Tony throughout my day. These are the texts. And as you can see, they don't even respond. Like literally, they don't even respond. At least you told me to bugger off. They're like silent. I'm texting. I could scroll that for 20 minutes and they don't respond. So not one response.
The reason I tell you to bugger off is because I don't want the second and third and fourth and fifth text disturbing me. The first one's enough. Those guys, I guess, are willing to deal with it.
You are a smart man. Guys, take advantage of Cyber Monday, $599. Any handicapper you want for 6 months. Marco, it's a pleasure. Good luck with Bet On It today. Get out of here, guys. Quick break. Right back. So much more show ahead of us.
It's not a secret how much free quality information WagerTalk Sports Memo and the Gold Sheet produce. And next up, we're giving out the WagerTalk College Basketball Guide. This might be the most informative collection of sports betting info we've ever produced. We're covering returning starters, offensive, defensive, and tempo rankings, recruiting rankings, head coaching info and background, and so much more. Even if you are the casual basketball fan, head over to the Ralph Michaels page and download this amazing guide for free.
It is time for Bad Beats, Bad Bets, and Bad for the Books. A little recap of what happened in the betting action since our last show. And I'll tell you what, if you didn't suffer a bad beat this weekend or win one of them, you didn't play a whole lot because there were a ton in both college and the NFL worthy of discussion. I got to start in college on Friday. Let's see. We had the Cal missed extra point versus Stanford. And what a bizarre result for the books. It was a disaster with Cal losing by 1. Cal was a 1.5 point favorite. They got they got bet down. Stanford took all the money. Stanford became a 2-point favorite. Game lands right in the middle because of a missed extra point after what was supposed to be the game-tying touchdown at the end. That tough beat if you had Cal. Bad result for the books. Iowa State stealing that game from Texas. Again, another big line mover was -1 to the Cyclones. They closed +2. Iowa State gets the money. That was tough. The worst beat of the weekend, and there were some bad beats this weekend. The worst beat of the weekend was Eastern Michigan +7. They opened +4.5, got bet up. The money came on Central. Central was down 20-6 in the fourth quarter, and they hit, I think, 3 fourth-down conversions to make it 20-13. And then next thing you know, they have the 25-3 fourth quarter rally, hitting multiple fourth downs. And then, again, Eastern's up 23-14. They're +7 in the fourth quarter. Last 3 possessions, fumble, interception, all deep in their own territory. Central ends up winning by 8. That was tough if you had the Eagles plus the points. What about Florida? You know, I mean, again, this one's right around the number, minus 23.5, minus 24, minus 24.5. They're up 24 against Kentucky. Well, only because their last 3 drives go long drive, miss field goal, long drive, field goal, long drive, get to the 1, and the clock ran out. Florida ends up winning by 24. That was tough. Zona against UCLA, plus 9.5. They're 4th and goal. They get stuffed. And then interception. UCLA scores a cheap touchdown to win by 17 instead of winning by 3. That was tough if you had Arizona plus the points. And that's just Friday and Saturday. All right. Yesterday, let's see. You had the Browns minus 7. You had Mayfield missing open receivers in the red zone and then miss an open receiver to go up 15. And they got stopped on downs by an inch the next play. And then a sack to end the game, but the refs call a penalty. And then the Jags score a touchdown. Oh, underbettors got screwed on that. And the Jags get a touchdown after the penalty. And then, of course, they missed the 2-point conversion. All the Browns want to do is kill clock. Jags kicked off deep instead of the onside. No chance for the cover for Cleveland after that. That was tough if you had the Browns minus 7. I did. How about the Giants? Complete domination of the game. They're minus 6, but they didn't score a touchdown, settling for 3. Then the refs throw a phantom pass interference call on 3rd and long, a prayer in the end zone. 19-10 becomes 19-17. Bengals get the money. Bad beat on the Browns, bad beat on the Giants. What about the Cardinals? The Cardinals get stuffed at the goal line before halftime. They don't get the 3. Then Gonzalez misses another game-winning field goal. Then the brutal late-hit roughing call on the sidelines against Cam Newton that was dicey before he ran out of bounds. Equals the Pats get a game-winning field goal without another first down. Cards minus 1. That was a tough beat. What about the Chargers? They're plus 5.5. They're down 10. They complete the Hail Mary. They're 1st and goal at the 2. They got 26 seconds left. They can't not cover, right? Well, you can if you run on first down and don't get in. And then you get 3 shots. Oh, 0 points. Bills get the money. That was tough for Charger backers. How about the Chiefs? I'm still not done yet. All right, the Chiefs, minus 3.5. They dominated the game. They're up 27-10, and they go into prevent mode, prevent offense. Bucks score once, Bucks score twice, coming through the back door, 27-24, a game that KC dominated. They didn't get the money. 49ers and Rams, you had the over. All right, you had 1 defensive touchdown for one side. Then you had another defensive touchdown on the other side. At the end, it's a field goal or touchdown, field goal or touchdown. Ends up being a field goal. 2 defensive scores, game still can't get over the total. That's some bad beats. Then there's bad bets. There was lots of Raiders money in Atlanta. They lost by 6 touchdowns against the spread. The single biggest point spread win of the season was the Falcons yesterday. They won by 40.5 points ATS. Let's see. The Pats Cards took over money. 19-17 final. That didn't get there. Those are bad bets. And again, the Panthers scored 2 defensive touchdowns and still couldn't cash on the money line. Minnesota comes through there. So a couple of bad bets there. And then, of course, bad for books. Let's see. The Jets got wiped out again. That's bad for the books every week. There was lots of Titans money before kickoff. Colts' number 1 defense has now allowed 28 points and 35 points in the first half over the last 2 weeks. They're not the number 1 defense anymore. Saints and under, certainly bad for books. And again, when the total's 36.5 and your one team's laying 17, it tells you all you need to know. Saints cash, under cash, that was not good for the house. And then Sunday night, it was a pros versus Joe's game. The pros loved the Bears last night. You know, wise guy money, sharp money all over Chicago. Didn't turn out to be right. Joe's cleaned up betting the Packers. That was not a great result for the house. Whew. Now that's a bad beats, bad bets, bad for the book segment. Prez, back to you, my friend.
Yeah. All the stress of Sunday, I forgot that I was also on Florida, and I had minus 24.5. So that was a loser. 2 Saturdays in a row. The Saturday before with Cincinnati, I end with the team standing at the bloody goal line. Anyway, Teddy, that segment you do is absolute gold, brother. Guys, are you kidding me? 339 of you just watched Teddy not take a breath and go through every game, and you didn't hit the like button? 85 likes. Should be 350 likes for that, Teddy. I gave you a like. I legit gave you a like in the middle of that entire piece. It was really outstanding stuff. You know, I had the Kansas City Chiefs as well. Yeah. Way to go.
Look, this was a weekend for tough beats in the NFL. Okay. I had one on Saturday. So I had 3 losses this weekend, and 2 of the 3 came in that category. The third one, my team won the second half 24-0, and I still didn't cover, which tells you how bad a first half they played. That's the nature of what, and we need to, you talk about your manicness as you're watching these games. Yep. We have a responsibility to our audience so that they understand these beats can happen. They will happen. When you're running bad, they'll happen consistently. And you have to be able to walk around and not hate life and not hate your wife and not kick your dog and be able to, I just took a really tough beat. I'm pissed off, but you can't let it ruin you. And Prez, the one thing that I can give you credit for with your dealing with these beats, you have your moments. We all do. You go crazy before the games are over. I tend to not go crazy before the games are over. You go crazy in like the second quarter and the third quarter, and that makes me crazy as well. But when the game is over, you have your moment and you're able to get back your center in a relatively short period of time. It's when these beats happen and you can't find yourself getting back to center in a half hour or an hour, and you're like, I'm so mad. I'm gonna, now I'm gonna bet 8 times my normal wager on Monday Night Football. That's when you need to take a step back. So they're going to happen. Hopefully we're on the right side of most of them this past weekend and not the wrong side.
Dude, I tell you, it's funny. I made a decent sum yesterday because of prop bets. I ended up taking over 4.5 touchdown passes in the Tampa Bay Kansas City game at plus 170. And it cashed. That was it was a sweat. It was a sweat.
Of course, dude. It was.
Yeah, man. I'm like, oh my God, I got 3 in the first quarter. Yeah, baby. This is gold. Or 2 in the first quarter.
You have 3?
2. It was
it was 2.
Yeah, because they kicked the field goal on the first drive. Teddy, let's do a shout out to everyone and then get into what did we learn week 12. Cook Finn, Prez for Canadian president. Okay, made up a title. I prefer prime minister, but I'm with you. Rob Sanchez, how are you? Nick Berenger, I haven't seen your name before. Same with you. Philly Scorpio, Stan. I really appreciate you guys here. James McGinnis, all the regulars, Elliot, Davey, N.O. Nice to see you, Ghost Boogie, Lance Trance. That rhymed. I just got to stop right there. Lance and Trance. We're going to move on. Guys, make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays over at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. Every handicapper, their play only $9. I got to play tonight in the NFL. It's only $9. Teddy, you in play tonight?
I'm in play with my college hoops lid lifter. First play of the college hoops season for me tonight.
I thought you were going somewhere else there, dude. Honestly, I don't know. You're like, I'm in play with my car, and I'm like, oh God. Oh, Joe, mute him.
What do you thought I was about to say? I'm going to play with my cock? What do you think I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, dude, I'm not in play with my cock while we're on it.
I thought that was coming out of your mouth, dude. Telling you
this is not a Jeffrey Toobin moment, my friend.
Oh, thank God. Okay, let's go. NFC East, Teddy. What did we learn with that entire division? Giants sitting at the top right now. Philly, a dog to win tonight, so that might be tough for them. This division, man. I mean, is there any team in that division that is radically moving up your power ratings?
Oh, radically? No. But I mean, the Washington football team had another good day. They're now a good story. Alex Smith makes them a good story. Ron Rivera makes them a good story. So there's a narrative that we can attach to the Washington football team. Because certainly when you're looking right now, you're going to say, yeah, Washington or the Giants, because they're the 2 teams that won this week. We'll see what Philly looks like tonight. Dallas doesn't look like they're going to be there. But again, all it takes is one win in this division and things change. But the Cowboys, they suffered, again, cluster injuries on the offensive line. Now they've lost both starting tackles and both backup tackles. Dallas isn't going anywhere. Philly on paper, Philly's still the best team, but they got to win some games. And, Wentz has been pretty awful. The Giants, we don't know what the status of the Daniel Jones injury. They're not going anywhere with Colt McCoy, not even maybe. So I guess the Washington football team is the one team we got to look at right now and say maybe there's a little bit of value on Washington. Certainly if you have a future bet on the Washington football team, they were 25-1 to win the division, 50-1 to win the division. They're live now.
Nice.
And hopefully you have that in your pocket.
Teddy, the Bucks are 7-5. The Rams are 7-4. And then you've got the Cardinals at 6-5, holding that final wild card. Vikings and Bears right behind them. I'm taking the Bears out of that equation completely. But look, you look at San Fran at 5-6, the Vikings at 5-6, and Arizona at 6-5. Which one of those three teams are going to make that final spot, assuming the Rams and the Bucks get there?
The three teams are Arizona, Minnesota, and San Francisco?
Yeah.
Arizona. Arizona's the best team of the three, in my power. I mean, I'll give Minnesota credit because they dug deep yesterday and found a way to win that game. Yeah. But again, they beat the Panthers. And I don't get beating a great team. They still didn't cover in victory. But anytime you give up two defensive scores, they were up 10-7. And then literally in two plays on offense, they were down 21-10. Again, when the first play of the there was a turnover for a touchdown, and then the first play of the next series turnover for a touchdown. And instead of being shell-shocked, they dug deep and won the game. I'll give Minnesota credit. But if you're going to ask me which team do I have power rated higher, Arizona is the best of those three teams. But you're also asking me schedule, and it'll come down to schedule. And I haven't done a thorough examination of what the schedules look like for these teams. So in terms of playoff odds, I can't give you a strong assessment. Well, I think Arizona's favored to make it in. Arizona's the best of those three teams. It's not that close. Prez, they do
have the hardest schedule.
I promise.
Arizona does have the hardest schedule. I mean, what did you think about them yesterday, going into New England, losing the way they did?
They've lost a handful of games like that they probably should have won. Arizona is a team. The NFC West this year, whether it's Arizona or Seattle in particular, those have been two teams that have been nail-biter teams 1 week after the next game's coming down to the final possession. And that's how good Arizona is. Okay, they're not a good enough team that's going to be blowing teams out week in, week out. They are a good enough team to make plays at the end of games to win. They have a kicker now that's cost them 2 games in Gonzalez. Yesterday, Gonzalez missed a field goal. And then, of course, Kingsbury went for it from inside the 2-yard line right before halftime, and those plays ended up being huge. But I'm not downgrading Arizona in my power ratings off a close loss to a desperate Patriots team when the kicker misses the game-winning field goal. They didn't execute in the red zone down the stretch. I do think Arizona, I know their schedule is probably going to be the toughest. But from a power rating standpoint, I have Arizona a good notch or two better than either Minnesota or San Fran's not going anywhere with Mullins. Let's be real. The 49ers got a nice win yesterday against a team that, when the Rams turn the ball over 4 times, San Fran can win. But San Fran's not winning a whole lot. They're not a playoff team.
Teddy, the Bills and the Dolphins, did they both move up in your power ratings? I mean, the Bills really offensively didn't look that great yesterday, but defensively, they're finally starting to come together. The weather's changing. Bills and Dolphins up in your power rating, and which one is higher?
Oh, Buffalo's much higher than Miami, and they have been. But again, at this stage of the season, without injuries, my adjustments to my power, I'm making a half-point adjustment, a point adjustment. Yeah. I'm not making big adjustments on either one of these two teams. Both teams took care of business yesterday. Buffalo lucky to get the cover. They spent their bye week working on running the football. And you look at the box score from yesterday's game and say, they figured it out. They ran the ball. Not for 3 quarters, they didn't. They finally wore down a tired defense in the 4th, but you're not taking the Bills' win yesterday and saying, this team's elite. They're not. They're good. You're not taking Miami's win yesterday and saying this team's elite. They're not. They're good. But I've got the Bills, I think 2 points, 2.5 points better than the Dolphins at least. Buffalo's a pretty good team.
I'll take Buffalo minus 2.5 at home against the Dolphins, please. Teddy, the Colts.
I didn't say it was at home. It was a neutral field.
Yeah, but I want it at home. I get to pick.
Okay, well, then
I'll
you have
take
to
them
lay
by-
4.
I'll take them by 2.5 on a neutral field instead of 4 at home. Teddy, the Colts 7-4, Browns 8-3, Ravens 6-4, and on and on. You got the Dolphins, the Raiders, the Browns, the Ravens, and the Colts all vying for 3 spots. Who are the teams? Which 2 do not make it? Which 2 are at the bottom of your power rating?
We can't do that now because, I mean, look, Indy lost 3 key defensive players for yesterday's game. I don't know if they're getting them back. If they don't have DeForest Buckner, the Colts are in trouble. If they get back DeForest Buckner and the other 2 defenders, Indy's live. So a lot of it is going to come down to injuries. Now look at Baltimore right now. Baltimore, if the game gets played tomorrow, is a shell of a team that they were 2 weeks ago. And 2 weeks ago, they weren't that good. Is the game going to get played? Don't know. Is the Ravens season going to go on without forfeits? Don't know. If Baltimore gets everyone back, they're live to do something. If they don't, they're not. So to me, that's the wrong assessment right here. The appropriate assessment. The decisions I'm trying to make right now, this is not a year to be betting futures. Okay. It's about who do we like this week given these circumstances. You can ask me who's playing in January. I can't tell you yet, Prez. That's not the focus right now. It's just, which team is screwed up beyond belief and which ones aren't. And the ones that aren't have an edge over the ones that are, like Baltimore.
Well, I can tell you who will be playing in February, Teddy. It'll be Green Bay versus Kansas City. Guys, let's take a quick break. Oh, Teddy, before we take a break, you got a show coming up at 1 o'clock, opening line report. Tell us just briefly about what everyone will hear. It's such an outstanding show.
Sure, but if you're going to make your Super Bowl prediction, I get to make mine. You have the Chiefs against the Packers?
Yeah.
I'll make the Chiefs against the Saints.
Okay.
There you go. So
whoever loses shaves their head.
I look very bad with a head shave. I did it once and I won't do it again. My head sticks up, dude. Yeah. But look, if you like NFL breakdowns, and Prez and I just did a taste of it, NFL opening line report, we go through every game on the board, Drew Martin and myself, talking about where we think the lines are going to move, what the markets are interested in, what games you want to bet on Monday, what games you want to wait till closer to tip-off. We have emergency betting alerts for games that are moving as we speak. It's a fun show. You can check it out again right after this one, right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Opening line report every Monday, me and Drew Martin.
Teddy, forget the day. Teddy, forget the break. Let's bring Matt in right now. I'm excited. Matt Joseph, our resident prop betting guru. How are you, my friend? Thanks for coming on the show. I gave you very little notice, so thanks for being here. How did you do this weekend?
College football was really good. I've had 2 losing weekends so far in college football. I went 7-2 overall, so that was really good.
Nice.
And then gave a lot of the profits back. Unfortunately, yesterday had a couple props not go my way. It's funny. I threw the Bears in my teaser last night, and I actually said as part of my write-up, I'm like, the back door is wide open with the Packers defense, and it nearly came through, but the Bears defense was so bad that it didn't really matter in the end.
Yeah, I don't know how you define nearly came through, but okay, we'll go with that. Matt,
let me jump in, Prez, because that was, the point was that the Packers defense is liable to give up scores late, and they did. All of a sudden, the Bears offense, and that's why that's a really misleading box score, because the Bears offense did nothing, and then all of a sudden, in the fourth quarter, marching up and down, Mitch Trubisky for the Pro Bowl. Trubisky's great, down 3 scores in the fourth quarter.
I take Mitch over Pat. I take draft Mitch over Patrick Mahomes any day of the week, but that's just me. Matt, Rams. Here we go. Rams. What am I talking about? Oh, that's old. Anyway. Yeah, guys, come on, man. Bugger off, all of you. Matt, give us some props for tonight.
Well, first off, I want to talk about the Eagles quarterback situation because I think a lot of people are going to jump on the Wentz props and they're going to look at the yards and the completions and the touchdowns and everything. And, of course, he should have success tonight. But, of course, they did face the Dallas Cowboys, who had a terrible secondary, of course, not in the level of the Seahawks. And he didn't perform as well as we thought he would. Also, this whole week we've been listening to Doug Peterson. He's been kind of hinting around, and then you see the Ian Rappaport report about Jalen Hurts is going to get a whole series. And I just have this feeling that if Carson Wentz struggles at halftime, Hurts plays the third quarter or the second half. And I'm very worried about the fact that you guys may put props out for Carson Wentz, and he may not play the whole game tonight. I think there's a chance we see Hurts for a series or two, and if he looks good, we may see him for longer. So just a bit of caution. And plus tonight, I did a couple weeks ago, I would consider sprinkling a little bit on a Hurts touchdown tonight, because I just think that the Eagles, look, they are struggling on offense. They should be able to do whatever they want tonight against the Seahawks defense. But I just have this feeling that Hurts is going to be involved tonight, and I think that Carson Wentz may not play as much as people think entering this matchup.
Well, that's a really good info if you think that, because that means we're not betting Wentz over or over. Would you bet Wentz under as a result of – and is this based on anything other than what you think? Have you read it? Because everything I'm reading doesn't seem like Peterson's about to put Wentz on the bench.
Well, Ian Rappaport reported that he was going to play at least a series tonight with Wentz, not even on the field. And that's the other stupid part. The Eagles would play these plays with Hurts on the field, and Wentz was on the field, and you knew Wentz wasn't doing anything. But if you read between the lines and you listen to Doug Peterson's press conferences, he was asked earlier in the week, I think it was Wednesday, that is Carson your quarterback? And he said, I'm not planning to make any changes today. And then they kind of pressed him a little bit, and he kind of gave like a tepid, he's going to play. I just think, look, the Eagles need to do something to this offense. And I think that Wentz, he has not looked good. He's thrown a bunch of interceptions. He's fumbling in the pocket. Things are not going well around him. I just have a feeling that desperation starts. Plus, there's been reports this week that Peterson's okay with losing his job and he's not as happy with everything, and the organization's cutting the legs out from underneath him. There's just a lot of things swirling around this team. And if they go and have a bad first half, I think Hurts can come in this third quarter and maybe even more.
Yeah.
So we're looking at a Hurts TD prop.
Oh, go ahead, Teddy.
Sorry, Lawrence. We're looking at a Hurts TD prop. We're not looking to bet Wentz over on anything. What else are we looking for in terms of props for Monday Night Football?
So on the Seahawks side, look, the Eagles have given up the most rushing yards of any team to a quarterback this whole season. You look, Lamar Jackson had under 8 yards, and Daniel Jones had 92 the first game. They had 2 weeks to study the Giants' offense and study what they did, and then he had 64 yards the second game. So if you look, the Eagles actually are really good against running backs this year. The stat was a couple weeks ago they were holding running backs to around 3.8 yards per carry, and it was the quarterbacks, the wide receivers, and the tight ends that were killing them. Evan Ingram even had a couple of nice carries against the Eagles. Ben DiNucci had 22 yards rushing. And so you look at Russell Wilson, he's gone over the number, which is 27.5, 6 times this season. And the Eagles pass rush is good enough to force him out of the pocket. And we've seen that Russell Wilson's not afraid to run. So to me, I'm looking at Russell Wilson over 27.5 rushing yards so far in this game for Seattle.
Matt Joseph, everyone, you can grab him at sportsmemo.com, and you can get the next 6 months of Matt for only $599. That's a Cyber Monday, a special. Any handicapper for $599 for 6 months. And Matt, your college football dude, just killer stuff. Up 33% ROI on the year already. 64 wins, 46 losses. Your NFL football is up. Congratulations, dude. You're having an outstanding year betting. Anything else before we kick you off of WagerTalk today?
So we're looking at 2 complimentary pieces for the Eagles tonight. It's really hard to try and figure because Travis Fulgham was the hot man of the week, a couple of weeks actually for the Eagles, and now he's kind of disappeared. The one guy that's seemingly been kind of stable for them is Greg Ward. And if you look at what he's done the last couple of weeks, 3 receptions, 5 receptions, 3 receptions, 5 receptions, he's actually gone under the number of 2.5 just twice so far this season. He's kind of that release valve. When Wentz is under pressure, he finds Greg Ward. So we're getting a decent price here on 2.5 receptions. And also, I'm looking at Boston Scott here. Boston Scott is a guy that they put in. He plays about 30% of the snaps or so. Played 40% 2 weeks ago, even with Miles Sanders in the lineup. And we're getting some value here in the over 7.5 receiving yards for Boston Scott. Last week, he had 3 catches for 26 yards in the loss to Cleveland. He's averaging 8.8 yards per reception. So in theory, 1 catch can get that 7.5 for you. I think the Eagles are going to be throwing plenty tonight, and we've seen some running backs have some success against the Seattle backfield against the Seattle secondary out of the backfield.
Awesome stuff, Matt. Thanks for joining us, my friend. We will have you on, like always, somewhere, sometime, once a week at least. Guys, quick break. We're right back with the pen, Ralph Michaels.
Every Monday is $9 Mondays over at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. Get any best bet or daily package for only $9.
Teddy, we're back. I just want to thank everyone for joining us. Hackerfish, Nick, James, Art, Ron, TC, GMD. We love having you all. Teddy, this is a segment that just gets so much, comments. I mean, probably our least polarizing segment. Very hard to find a person who doesn't love Ralph Michaels. Ralph, it's a privilege to have you with us every single day. And a huge congratulations for your performance yesterday. Teddy, Ralph went 4-0 in NFL. Outstanding. Ralph, let's go, baby. What do you got?
I'm going to make one correction on that, Prez. I didn't get to the database quick enough. I had a teaser, so the front end graded as a win. It was a loss, but I'll take the day overall. I want to make that correction. But you know what I was trying to think as you guys were talking about Matt Joseph. He is the greatest utility person there is, coming in anywhere. So is he our Taysom Hill, or who can we think of that's the best utility player in the NFL to fill every spot anytime we need it, always available? Great job, Matt. So angle of the day. I want to give you this angle, and I also want to preface this angle. The angle is talking about home dogs of 5 or more in week 7 or later. So you're a team that's obviously overmatched. You're in the second half of the season, likely beat down. And since 2015, those teams have gone 9-86 straight up and only 31.9% against the spread. Now, while that applies to Philadelphia tonight, I will say this. In those 100 and whatever games there have been, it's very unlikely that home dog in week 7 or later was a half a game out of first place. And if they win this game, they actually control their own destiny in the NFL playoffs. So, again, this is not your normal home dog situation. It's a record as I'm reporting it. But, Teddy, your take on my take on the asterisks with this angle.
I think the angle's stronger than the asterisk, to be perfectly honest. The asterisk says that Philly's live. Philly knows they're live. Philly also knows that they stink. They're not a confident team. And when you see home dogs at this stage of the season, that's a big piece of the equation is the confidence level. They're not confident teams. And teams that aren't confident find ways to lose. And that, what are we talking about? 31.8% over a fairly significant sample size for teams like Philadelphia. Yeah, it doesn't make me excited about taking the points with the Eagles. It really does.
Yeah, is there more? Is there another better example than that than perhaps the Chargers? I mean, the Chargers getting down to the goal line. Thankfully, yesterday I had a 5% play on the Bills, but the Chargers just keep shooting themselves on the foot, and a team has to get confidence and learn how to win before you can bet them in that role. Well, I wanted to look at a month-by-month situation, how teams do off a straight-up win as a dog, and how losing teams do, how a winning team does off a straight-up loss as a favorite, and how a losing team does off a straight-up win as a dog. So the first surprised me. When I went back since 2014, take a look at the first chart. This is how you look on the query. So if anyone wants to know how I find this information, if you go to killersports.com and just type in previous win percentage over 50 and previous loss as a favorite, if you lose as a favorite, if a winning team loses as a favorite in September, October, it doesn't mean anything. It's actually a negative. It's negative momentum. You're only 40% against the spread. But look at November and December when the cream rises. Obviously, you could be 2-1 in September and be a winning team and then lose your next 6 games. But if you're a winning team in November and December and you are off a loss as a favorite, you've covered 56% of the time in November and 58.5% in December. And the bottom chart surprised the heck out of me. I sort of thought I'd see an opposite of what the favorites were, but the bottom chart says a winning percentage under 50, so you're a losing team, and you won as an away dog. Every month, September, October, November, and December, when you were a losing team but you won the game as a home dog, the next week you had a positive over 51.7% ATS result.
And
Ralph
both of those make
Michaels-
sense, Ralph.
Go ahead, Teddy.
Both of those make perfect sense. The first one, and let's throw can you throw that chart back up there for me, Joe, real quick? The first one tells us that the betting markets are more efficient later in the season. All right, you have a team that is supposed to be this off a loss as a favorite the following week. Well, in September and October, it says, hey, maybe those teams weren't that good. And the betting markets have now figured that out. And by November, December, we are talking about good teams off a loss, and they step up. But in September and October, the market's still trying to determine who the good teams are. On the bottom part of the chart, where we're talking about teams that have won off a win as a dog, look, momentum means something in the NFL. Teams that win as a dog have a little bit of confidence, and clearly, at least through the first 3 months of the season, they've been profitable to bet, not so much when it comes to December. Excellent info, Ralph.
Well, that's why they call him the Pen. Have you met my dog?
No.
My dog's name is Vegas. Teddy's like, really, Prez? Nobody cares. Teddy, it's my dog.
That's your no.
Everybody...
That's your dog. Is all I'm saying. That's all we need to know. You know.
Yes.
Some guys
I
have
think
pit bulls,
if we
have
took a
German
vote,
Shepherds, some guys have that.
If we took a vote and we said, would you rather see Prez's bicep or Prez's dog? I'm going to say it's 99-1 on the dog. So thank God, Prez, you didn't show us your bicep. Anytime Prez says, do you want to see this? Close your eyes and be very afraid.
Ralph,
So
friends of Ralph segment.
All right, guys. I am going to myself for the play of the day. This is a college basketball play. It is a play I bet. It is a play that's up for sale. Today is $9 Monday. I have 3 college basketball plays, including a 4% best bet. This is one of those. So if you want to spend the $9, you are still going to get 2 plays, including a 4-star best bet. And baby, it's guard play in November. Game 861 is a 3% play on Georgia State -3. They're facing Mercer. State makes that 80-mile trip down I-75. Teddy, you probably know that very well, heading down to Macon. Both of these teams, boy, it sucks to be a Georgia Tech fan because you have already lost this year. Georgia Tech lost to Georgia State and to Mercer, both their little brothers. But this Georgia State team loaded. 4 returning starters, all 3 guards back. They have the best guard play in the conference. They also have a Georgia transfer who was here last year practicing, who's a guard. 4 guards deep against this Mercer team. I will take guard play in November all day long. Game 861, an actual client release, 3% Georgia State.
Killer stuff, Ralph Michaels. Guys, check out how good Wager Talk is. One of our Canadian listeners, a few of our Canadian listeners in the chat room, you wouldn't know about that, Teddy. They said, hey, Prez, can we get a promo just for Canadians? Because we charge US dollars. They're getting, it's affecting them. We have one now. It is A10 EH. Yes, an American made that promo. He thinks all Canadians say A. They don't, but it is EH10. EH10, 10% off anything at Wager Talk. We'll run that promo all week. EH10.
Do all Canadians go to Tim Hortons, Prez?
No, I don't. But
Okay.
it is the best drip coffee around. But no, man, dude, look, I drink Nespresso. Guys, let's call it a show. Ralph Michaels, thank you. Matt Joseph, thanks for joining us. Marco D'Angelo, you as well. Promo codes. We got a Cyber Monday special, $5.99 for 6 months of anybody. It's $9 Mondays. And all Canadians get 10% off this week. EH10. Teddy, you're the best. You didn't shave. That really threw me off at the beginning of the show. Please take us home.
Enjoy the games. Good luck tonight. We'll be back again on Wager Talk Today, 23 hours from now. Good luck.
Who will finish 2020 ranked #1 overall profit across all sports? Yanni the Greek and Rob Vino. They've been battling back and forth all year long for that top spot. Currently, though, Yanni the Greek is at 246% in profit, and Rob Vino is at 210%. That's a total combined bankroll increase of their clients of over 456%. We want to give you a chance to lock in the nation's top 2 handicappers in 2020 for the rest of the calendar year for only $398. That is a $300 discount, and this offer will include all client releases, including 5% best bets from both Yanni the Greek and Rob Vino.